electric cars. Boom. What's going on with electric cars? Everybody's been pushing for them. Shitlibs love them. They're unaffordable to most people. And on top of it, car makers are using the EV revolution to turn auto jobs into poverty wage work. What a surprise. They found a way to do that to auto jobs. So for decades, auto jobs had been this is More Perfect Union, by the way. Shout out to More Perfect Union. That was started by Faz Shakir, who I'm not a huge fan of, but this organization has done outstanding work speaking on behalf of workers and reporting on just how screwed up some of the stuff that corporate has been doing to their employees. So for decades, auto jobs in America have been a gateway to the middle class. Typical unionized worker at GM's plant in Lordstown, Ohio, used to earn about $60 an hour in wages and benefits, but major car makers are using the shift to electric vehicles to rid themselves of those jobs. They're each creating new joint venture companies to build EV batteries. For example, GM has Ultium cells and Ford has Blue Oval in order to avoid union contracts, lower wages, and to weaken health and safety standards for the auto work of the future. Thanks a lot. Those battery jobs will eventually replace existing engine and transmission work with plants like Belvidere Assembly, which is the Chrysler Jeep facility in Illinois, already idled, as they move away from combustion engines to build more electric drivetrains. Now, the story isn't all gloom. The industry's shift to EV is also being powered by tens of billions in federal funds, giving the Biden administration an immense opportunity to intervene and demand wage and safety standards in exchange for the money. Okay, this is where I disagree with Faz Shakir and where he shows his shit livery. This is not a good thing. Tens of billions of dollars in federal funds to automakers. Why? Why? They were plenty profitable.
For them to make money.
You could impart these standards on them, require EPA federal emission standards. They'd have to do it to sell cars, and you didn't have to give them tens of billions of dollars to do it. This is gross. And that they're making an excuse and spinning this as a positive, fuck that. But, of course, on top of that, that hasn't even happened yet. We just investigated GM's new Ultium plant, which is also in Lordstown. Yeah, they also don't talk about what happened to Lordstown Motors over that. And there was a massive scandal over that. Lordstown's been screwed. Lordstown, Ohio, man. But the Ultium plant got $2.5 billion from the federal government. So basically, GM got free money to hire people and build this plant, and they're still losing money, and they're squeezing the workers. And as you can read or watch below, workers at Ultium are paid half as much as their counterparts at GM with worse benefits for work that's remarkably, of course, dangerous. I'm not going to play this 8.5-minute video. You can watch that here on their Substack, by the way. More Perfect Union is also on Substack, moreperfectus.substack.com. But what they're saying here is that Lordstown is home to, of course, one of the Ultium Cells' 3 battery manufacturing plants, and they're no stranger to auto manufacturing. They were the first GM plant, one of the first, and it rolled off. The first one rolled off in 1966. It's been around for more than 50 years. It was their town's largest industrial employer and a crucial source of well-paying union jobs. Basically, when Lordstown plant shut down, this town went down. Right? And you can see that. There's the first car that rolled off the line. Their auto boom came crashing down in 2019 when GM announced it was shuttering the Lordstown plant, when more than 1,300 workers lost their jobs. People that sell their homes move away. And it was a union, it was a plant town. A year later, GM announced it was opening Ultium Cells, a new EV battery plant. Workers had hoped it was a return for good jobs of the past, so some got excited. So, partnership between GM and LG received a $2.5 billion loan from the federal government to build these new manufacturing facilities in Michigan, Ohio, and Tennessee. So the $2.5 billion didn't go just to build Lordstown. See, according to the DOE, these plants will create 6,000 construction jobs, but only about 5,100 operations permanent jobs. we're really at this opportunity to say as we start to build all these things, we're going to make sure that there are good wages and benefits in these facilities. But so far, of course, that hasn't been the case. Unlike GM at $60 an hour, Ultium workers start at $16.50 an hour because it's technically a new company. The UAW's existing contract with GM doesn't cover these workers. So, geez, that's terrible. And the UAW doesn't really care, even though it's going to drive down their wages in the end. Right? Workers we spoke to also described minimal training and exposure to hazardous chemicals and unsafe working conditions. At least 22 workers suffered injuries or illnesses at the electric plant in just the first 5 months of this year, according to OSHA. And most recently, the EPA mandated an air quality inspection that closed Russo's department. Holy shit, look at that. Photos from inside the plant, obtained by More Perfect Union, showed a worker covered in dried up slurry containing N-methyl pyridone, I don't know what and carbon nanotubes. And that presents an unreasonable risk to human health, including exposure to carbon nanotubes has been linked to lung fibrosis and cancer, of course.
Yeah, you mean like literal fiberglass years before, or like any small solid particulate matter? Asbestos and
then of course if you open your mouth, you get suspended. I've seen several members and mixing in our cathode mixing department that were retaliated against by management for raising a grave safety issue in their department. They were all suspended pending the investigation without pay.
What?
Yep. Ultium unionized with the UAW and contract negotiations are ongoing, but the bargaining process has been nothing but tumultuous chaos over and over again. We're told one thing by the company and they turn around and do something completely opposite. Sounds like the Obama administration. Or Biden or any of them for that matter, but Obama was famous for that shit.
China. Obama.
As the UAW negotiates its contract, thank you, with the big three, more than half of Democratic senators, of course, have called for the new contract to cover all workers under joint venture initiatives like Ultium, but they'll cave just in case they don't. They'll call for it. They won't do anything about it. Aside from a strong union contract, there's more the federal government might be able to do for workers at plants getting taxpayer funds. Yes, they could. They could require all kinds of stuff. They could adopt wage standards to ensure that when the government supports private sector companies, their manufacturing workers are paid market wages. They don't want that. Congress are the owners too. They want to keep wages low, not wages high. They don't represent us. Come on, Perfect Union. You know this. We have these sorts of standards in other sectors like construction. We've had them for nearly 100 years. Yes, because they were in place before these scumbags were ever there. And manufacturing workers deserve the same. Yes, they do, but they're not going to get it. They need to stop giving taxpayer dollars to companies that essentially treat their workers like gum on the bottom of a boot. Yep. Agreed. I wish President
Biden actually came down here and just took a walk through our production floor. These are extremely skilled technical jobs that require a lot of skill and a lot of training to do. I wish President Biden knew that.
Hiya.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Hiya.
He doesn't even know what he had for breakfast.
Like, why does that matter?
Well.
Ugh.
Yep. We live in hell. But subscribe to More Perfect Union. They are one of the outlets that is doing the work on labor, and there aren't too many. And they can get shit libby, and they can champion for Democrats a little bit, and they can champion for union heads a little bit, which is kind of gross. But we need every labor reporter we can get. Anyone that's amplifying the stories of the workers and not doing it on behalf of the bosses, we need those people. We need those voices. Big fan. So I got one more story here. Let's take a look at chat. Yeah, Joe might slip. Yes, he just very well might. Say hi to everybody over in chat.
Already mad at this title.
Yep. Well, this is from a resident of East Palestine.
Like literally, we just.
Well, that's.
Yes, we just finished it from a person before.
That's right. And that's kind of funny how it ends on that one, but yet we dovetail into this. And this, again, is a... Oh, okay. Roger Meadows. Oh, hey, you skipped the part of unions pushing a local ballot measure to house the homeless on that article regarding the hotel workers. Did I? You know you were not going to sneak that one past me unless you did and I zoned out for the moment. No, I don't. I definitely don't remember catching that one, Roger Meadows. Thank you for letting me know on that one.
Also, $5 tip on YouTube about our previous story about Scientology. Don't forget David wife Shelley. Her whereabouts have been unknown for years.
Where is Shelley?
I think we mentioned her.
Yes, we definitely we haven't, but that.
But yes,
Leah's first Substack post was about where is Shelley. Where's Shelley?
Yeah. But
there's the Roger Meadows thing. Hey, you skipped the part about unions pushing a local ballot measure. Let's go back here. All right. With the hotel workers, right? All right. I wasn't going to sneak that past. I think the Scientologist got to Jamie Foxx for dating Katie Holmes when she left Tom Cruise. Thank God he came through and survived. There were rumors that he was cloned. Oh, God. Wow.
Well, they do have that VAT at the Scientology boat.
So wait, there's another one. Roger Meadows. I never would have thought a guy who wrote a bunch of self-help books in the 80s I used to read would have turned into a cult. Yeah.
Another one.
Yep. I just knew him as that self-help guy, not his religion. I remember Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah, I remember seeing the commercials on late night TV as well, because Roger and I are probably about the same age. And then he says that he was sitting on top of a mountain in a commercial. Shakir about now to throw some of that Fed dough to startup co-ops that could use them. Oh, yeah. That was something that Roger was talking to me about, is what was lobbying the federal government to provide more money to independent journalism outlets like INN. In some type of form of grants or whatever, so that
I don't know if I want them to do that.
Well, as long as they don't require,
the minute you got
right
government funding, people would be immediately suspicious.
Right. Well, not just yes and no. It's more like a subsidy, but I mean, how else are we supposed to sustain? I was looking to put that super chat
but then they'll figure out a way to regulate it.
There we go, Arthur.
And regulate speech on top of it.
That's right. Thank you, Arthur, for the $5. Shelley Miscavige, where don't stop saying her name. For sure. Kirstie Alley did die. She was another one. Thank you, Team Orca OnlyFans. OnlyFins, right? OnlyFans. That'd be Tom Cruise. That's right.
Tom Cruise used a witchcraft on me to get the fire off me.
Yep, Tom Cruise does use the witchcraft. I have the other one too.
Mr. Bobby, come on down here.
Help me, Jesus. Help me, Jewish God. Help me, Allah. Ah! Help me, Tom Cruise.
Yahweh.
Help me, Tom Cruise. At the very end, he does help me, Tom Cruise.
The only way is Yahweh.
Oh, all right.